Hey, how you doing? This is Chris, and welcome back to the Classic-Gaming Webcast. You might know this, and you might not, but there's a 1986 coin-op by Namco called Toy Pop. Hey, that almost rhymed. I don't know why it's called that. Surely they're not all inflatable, but there are balloons. Maybe it just sounded neat. Anyway, I had never played this arcade game or even heard of it until I got the first PlayStation 1 collection of emulated Namco games. I was surprised to find that I was having a great deal of fun playing a confined single-screen action game that's supposed to be a bit cutesy. That part of it doesn't really matter in the bits of your brain that are active when determining how best to kick ass, plastic ass or not. And it does contain quite a lot of exploration in the form of exposing hidden things. That's mainly what makes the game fun for me. It's highly original, and each new level causes you to rethink your approach just enough to keep it all consistently engaging. Your hero is a puppet, but you're the one holding the strings. If you were to decide to team up with a second player, you'd be joined by a puppetess. The other would-be playthings have evidently rioted inside a huge store of gift-wrapped toys and many rooms. A kid's paradise, really. Yeah, kids. And the setup of each screen is impressively different from the last. There are 44 in all, including the bonus screens. Eventually, it gets almost laughably difficult, but never quite impossible. There's always that if only I had feeling, you know? So it doesn't exactly get unfair, which is cool, especially considering that it was, of course, made to take as many yen as possible. Beating all of the screens probably necessitates two players cooperating, but I always get the feeling that it can be done with only one player, just not easily. I'll get this out of the way. I'd play this fun game a lot more often without the time limit. It's reasonable, considering that you're constantly deciding whether to beat the screen you're on by meeting the minimal requirements, which are relatively easy, or scoring as high as you can before you do that, so you can increase your life count more quickly. But I simply don't feel that the added pressure of time, no matter how fair, adds anything to the game at all. I guess that you could choose to just wander around without leaving after you've destroyed all enemy toys on any screen, now therefore being threatened by nothing, but then the timer could have just started at that point. So there's that. Let's start the fun. This game's enjoyable enough to be worth putting up with that, as well as the repetitious music. Pinot only. So what's Geppetto's name been shortened to? Jeppe? I haven't found any friends to save, but you know how designers are sometimes. A storyline is forced into the transitions that has nothing to do with the actual gameplay. Never mind all that. I'm saving my own wooden ass. By moving my arms back and forth rapidly for no reason, evidently, the bad toys emerge from those blocks with the red SS stars on them, as you can imagine. And here's one of the original things. Each type of enemy can only be destroyed with a particular weapon, and as an army consisting of one kind of toy doesn't always enter the make-pretend battlefield at once, but alternates with others, it's a doubly fictional war zone when you think about it. You find yourself switching weapons quite often, looking around for the one you need, which will appear multiple times as you shoot open the presents. The exceptions are these earliest and tiniest guys, the wind-up soldiers, who've apparently forgotten that they're only toys and don't really need to kill escaped puppets. The soldiers can be taken out with almost anything. Whereas the spare tires, I guess, stale donuts, both maybe, take out the wind-up cars. Those are the only two kinds of toy on this first screen. It's fun mining presents. You might say that this entire game's filled up with rewards. I'm not sure who armed these toys, but we're on a mission to keep some kid's eye from being put out, I guess. You beat a screen by finding all four of the big yellow hearts, which you automatically throw, with great puppet strength, toward the door, which opens a bit more when each heart arrives there. They're easy to find early on, but they have to be uncovered, like the weapons, on later screens. You shoot each present once to see what's inside, and a second time to dissolve the box altogether so you can take the contents. The hearts are concealed inside glass bottles, like sick lab experiments, damn SS toys, which may or may not be transparent, so you find yourself shooting up everything to see what's inside. It's great. If you can see a heart through the outside of a bottle, you only have to shoot the bottle once to break it. Also inside some gifts are mere score bonus items, such as what appear to be plastic cinnamon rolls, so you can play with your food here, as well as power-ups, some of which have to be collected in threes before they're activated, and some that don't. The tanks are destroyed by throwing cannonballs at them, which have a blast radius that you want to be careful to avoid yourself. So that's the kind of planning you need, and the strategy I referred to. The bombs don't destroy the cars, for some reason, and of course the stale donuts won't hurt the tanks. And what's cool about the bombs is that they'll forcibly open more than one adjacent present at a time. So you want to make sure that you leave alone any weapon you find that you don't need, because there's a chance it'll be required again before the level's over, even if another type of toy is currently appearing. If you ever happen to see a diamond, that's just a score bonus as well. If you get shot or collide with a toy, you lose your shirt. Bad investment, pal. You wander around in your toy undershirt, and your next run-in kills you, unless you find new clothes inside one of the boxes first. And to think of all those Christmases when clothes were the least interesting things we got, right? What's cool is that you can't accidentally pick up the one shirt you find per screen if you don't need it, so it's not wasted. This is good as the fresh wardrobe isn't found on every screen. Starting with the second screen, you'll encounter the occasional boxing glove springing out of a present you've just shot. So you learn to blast the presents from far away when you can. You don't get hurt when this happens, but you can't move for a second, and this of course can be deadly. You'll also start seeing those extendable toy arms, pop out of boxes that you haven't shot, and these tear off your shirt if you still got it, exposing your roughest splinters like a bad girlfriend will. So that wardrobe thing, armor basically, is another cool aspect of the game, as you can get hit more than once without losing a turn, and even get yourself back in top condition before being killed. You will make no marshmallow campfire out of me tonight, you bastards. You pick up the thumbtack weapon to take out the balloons. I guess they're not mere pins because you want the better grip to throw them hard enough. Of course a nail gun would have been even better. The balloons don't fire at you like a lot of the other things, but they sure move quickly, for balloons. They want to make you talk funny! And they move through walls. This ain't the kind you win at the fair. Don't crowd me. There's time for you all to die. Don't worry. Away with you. What do you think this is, a game? Regarding the power-ups, collecting 3 sevens gives you 21, so there's that. No, it turns you into a tornado for a brief period. A shame what kids will play with these days. Your tornado incarnation is no less deadly than the real thing, and you're invulnerable while transformed into a natural disaster, as you might expect. And collecting 3 stars temporarily gives you firepower that can destroy any kind of toy. If you see one of those 2 special weapons, don't shoot the box again unless you're ready to get all powered up, because unlike the other weapons, these disappear after a few seconds if you don't take them after they've been completely unboxed. When his star power runs out, Pino returns to anonymity. Hey, don't worry, pal, that's freedom. You start each screen with 90 time thingies. They're not quite long enough to be seconds, and if you don't leave in time, the walls grow until you're squashed. Creepy, huh? There's the occasional time bomb, batteries included. You gotta get out of there. Hope it gets some of the others. Strangely orderly explosion, that. It's helpful that it shows you which toys you'll be facing on the next screen, as you can determine whether you should keep the weapon you've left the last screen with, or start shooting presents and looking for a different weapon right away. The Alice in Wonderland-like playing cards are shown no mercy here, since they're not bluffing. They throw spears at you, or sewing needles, so you burn them up by throwing fire. Our puppet's made out of some tough wood, huh? Of course he could just be a wooden doll, but I don't play with dolls. If you find the lantern, it opens all remaining presents that contain weapons. There are teleporters, starting on screen 6, and breakable walls, camouflaged to look like the others. And a wizard on screen 7. Yes, only one at a time, thankfully, because you can actually only kill him with the star power or the tornado, so at least the wizard hardly ever shows up. The bonus round on screen 8 merely entails catching apples for points, and you can only run to the left or right, but you can jump, even though there's nothing to jump. Maybe the puppet's just stretching his wood. The robots on screen 9, and many thereafter, presumably run on electricity, but you kill them with the lightning bolts, so maybe they can only handle battery power. Lightning. Pino's that powerful, and yet playing cards and monkeys still hurt him. It's a Namco mystery, TM. The lightning bolts only freeze most of the other enemies, so maybe it's got the wrong polarity or something anyway. And yes, I did say monkeys. These primates with symbols first appear on screen 10 and have the nerve to try hitting you by throwing their own, well, I don't want to know, but they're killed with accordions, apparently, so you want to find that more sonically harmful instrument than their symbols to de-monkey the area. I don't care if you are musicians. You try to kill my puppet, the song is over. I want to shoot the kid who asked for all this horrifying stuff. Just with a thumbtack, relax. Taking the very rare fork turns all enemies into pieces of cake. Just more score bonus items, but certainly easier to swallow than tanks and monkeys. The boot speeds... that sounded funny. The boot speeds you up for a little while, and the flower temporarily turns you invisible and indestructible. The hourglass freezes the bad toys for a few seconds. There's a lot of stuff to find. In fact, if you ever see a yellow flag at the beginning of a screen, this means that you've passed a 15,000 point interval, or 20,000 if the machine, virtual or otherwise, has been set by a greedy bastard, and you want to grab that flag right away to get an extra life. At the very end, there's some weird witch-type person, I guess that's Majo, but I've only played that far once, thanks to saving my place, and she's not all that difficult, or exciting, or cute even. So there's Toy Pop, lots of fun. And now, to revisit the land of possible silliness, as compared with this serious game, of course, let's amuse ourselves with some intriguing unfamiliarity before we part for now, shall we? Time to revisit the dear Commodore 64, I think. It's lots of fun to open GameBase and press a random combination of keys to see which games you land on. Arcadia. Arcadia 64. Hell of a distant sequel. If you can't make a good game after 63 tries, I don't want to know from it. Crazy Sue. No thanks. Had enough crazies. Crazy Sue Plus. What, does she have the flu too? Okay, I'll take a brief look. See, this is how it always starts. Haven't I learned? She is crazy. She's painted herself completely blue. I see. As with so many, this isn't named correctly. It's actually Super Mario Bros. 947 at last count. Space Hunter, 'cause the original name, Apartment Finder, wasn't very exciting. I guess in the UK that joke would have been funnier if I'd said Flat Finder, but it's not like you guys don't know what an apartment is. How arrogant. In case you didn't understand, just in case it was bedlam in the streets, because everyone was saying, what did This Is Chris mean? Super Gritter. I don't think I'll be bothering with that one either, as it looks like an Commodore ripoff, but Terminal Software? Not a very optimistic name you cats chose for your company. Doomed Software House Incorporated. We're Finished Limited. Super Robin Hood, eh? Codemasters, 1987. Well, alright. Let's see if they really have mastered code. Those aren't hints, they're instructions. Collect all the hearts. To save, you should have called it Super Popeye. Why pay more? Well, let's hope we're not about to see an example of why. But no way, this is going to be awesome. Watch this. I'll bet this is the game I've been waiting for all my minute. You've met Robin Hood. Well, now let's take control of his superheroic equivalent. A non-RPG adventure game. I'm there. Well, clearly. Doesn't look like I have limited arrows, so that's cool. No arrow count on the screen. You can jump or duck, but not fire while doing either one. It's a shame when programmers don't go that extra furlong, you know, Robin. Boy, you were tall. Alright, now hold still. I promise, I'll make this slow and painful. Well, that nasty thing's not dying. Kinda lame arrows then, aren't they? You guys better watch it or I'll throw my crutches at you. So what am I supposed to do? Bully the enemies with this ineffective firepower till they take their own lives? That's a tiny little waterfall. Of course, they never really start out big, I suppose, do they? It's a good thing I have these crutches. But then if I keep throwing them at things, I'm going to slip and fall eventually. Ooh, maybe I can upgrade to a pointy cane. Too bad Super Robin Hood's not collecting decorations. He'd be all set in here. Like, fuck you, Marion. I'm going to the auction. Collect the hearts, and we've made it challenging by not putting any hearts in the game. Maybe I'm supposed to kill one of these guys with the Digitaroos and cut their hearts out?
Prepare to meet your user, program.
How are you managing to walk right through my crutches? Are you even a bad guy? Are you a good guy I have to rescue? Neither one, apparently? Maybe you're the janitor. Well, good. This place could clearly use a mopping. Super Robin Hood. Maybe they just called the game that to throw off the bad guys for a bit. Make them hesitant, you know? Apparently, the game namers were just being kind. He's actually special, Robin Hood, if you know what I mean. Well, that's kind of a shame. Could have been great, but I've beat the game by ceasing to care. So I'll move on to air traffic controller so I can skip it. Air raid, 86, RobTech. Okay, I'm game. Well, I'm player. This is game. Let's raid the air. Men, we're breathing the enemy. So eat some garlic and let's go get 'em. Damn it, I can't believe I left the garage door opener in my other plane. Oh, I see. That's the glow from my extremely powerful flashlight. And I'm looking for planes that threaten Silhouette Town. Oh, no. I need you to die. I wasn't clear, I guess. There you go. Now we're communicating. I'll tell you what. I'll show off a bit and beat the game completely.
No, don't kill all of us. Ah!
Ain't it great being omnipotent? That's what happens when you live alone long enough. But I dig it anyway. Thank you for watching, and until I can play far enough to reach the adult section in the evil toy store,
This is Chris.